Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 here to do Bracketology on Monday morning. It's just for SEC teams, and we will go through a lot of stuff here. Let's start at the top. We're going to go roughly in order of resumes. Alabama clearly the number one. Bracket Matrix has the Crimson Tide as the second one seed. Bracket Matrix, I think, is lagging a couple days. And as we're doing this, I don't think Joe Lenardi has put out his latest from the weekend. Correct me if I'm wrong here. But in any case, what we've got, the Crimson Tide 22-3 overall, 12-0 in the SEC, 8-1 on the road, 2-0 neutral, 17 strength of schedule. That through last week. Quads 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alabama 7-2, 6-1, 6-0, 3-0, and the big wins at Houston, Arkansas and Auburn at home, Michigan State on a neutral floor. Same with Carolina. Also Memphis at home, Kentucky at home for whatever that's worth, and Missouri on the road. Also Liberty. That's a top 50 net win. The Crimson Tide looking strong and getting stronger predictive computers. We use BPI, Bart Torvik, Ken Pomeroy, Jeff Sagarin, and KPI average those. Alabama averaging 2 in the predictive rankings. Blake, I don't know what else you can say about Alabama. That loss at Oklahoma now seems like it was light years ago.
I know what else you can say about Alabama, Chris.
Oh.
That
yes,
right there is what you can say
that.
about Alabama. All right. Sorry. I'm too busy laughing at this post here from John Adams. I mean, look, you brought out the bag of shame, and this is what you get. So, hey, anyways. All right, back to Alabama.
And that in context, I had picked Auburn to win in Neville Arena, which did not happen clearly although it was close.
It's not that you picked Auburn to win. It's that you picked Auburn to win via the wheel of randomness. And that was always my argument. Is that you cannot possibly tell me that that's the reason. So, anyways, back to the number one team in the country, Alabama, which I assume will be number one in the AP poll today. If they're not, I don't know what the AP poll is doing. But
because Purdue lost.
Yeah, Purdue lost to Northwestern, and it would be between Alabama and Houston. And what do you know? There's a way to break that tiebreaker. But we'll see. Anyways, it doesn't matter if you're one now or one until the end of March. That's what really matters. But yeah, Alabama's. I think we're like, if you're Alabama, you're looking at like doomsday scenarios now, because what would break you from being a number one seed at this point? Well, obviously you lose to South Carolina or lose to Georgia and teams like that, but really all the rest, obviously assuming you don't lose all four to Tennessee, Arkansas, Auburn, A&M, I just think unless, there's just a lot that happens behind them and other teams are, making up a lot of ground, which I think is going to be hard to do. I mean, Alabama, I'd be stunned if they're not a number one seed. So that's the body of work they put together. So
maybe a UFO could stop Alabama.
Well, my goodness, UFO Twitter is having a time out there.
It is having a weekend, isn't it?
I didn't really see it until the Super Bowl. I guess somehow that tied into the Super Bowl. I don't know how, but yeah. But maybe that's what would have to happen is a UFO takeover to stop Alabama from being a number one seed right now. So,
well, one of the best chances to stop the Crimson Tide belongs to the Tennessee Vols, who will get Alabama in Knoxville this week.
The tricksters.
Well, to borrow a Gary Parrish term, the Vols are absolutely computer trickers. I don't know how to explain. I'm gonna skip down a little bit. Well, they actually not skip down much because they're our next team. Explain this to me.
I can't.
Tennessee loses at home to Missouri. Was Tennessee 2 or 3 in the net?
They were 3. They didn't move.
They stay at 3. And Missouri moves from 48 to 45 by beating the number 3 net team on its home floor. Now, I get that you've got other games built in, and maybe some teams Missouri played got dinged this weekend. I don't know. The Iowa State win is a little less appealing, perhaps. Maybe the Kentucky win is that too, but UCF moved up. I don't understand. I guess the net is not going to fluctuate. You would have thought that both teams would have moved a little bit in the net. They did not. Anyway, back to the Vols. Vols are 4 in the predictive computers, which also love them. Number 20 strength of resume, according to ESPN. Alabama's is, by the way, number 1. Tennessee 19-6, 8-4 in the league, 4-3 on the road, 4-1 neutral. Number 53 strength of schedule. That is of before Saturday. I can't find the latest net. Quads 4-2, 4-4, 5-0, 6-0. Big wins. Texas at home, Kansas neutral, Maryland neutral, Auburn at home, and Southern Cal, which has dropped to 62. And so that's no longer a top 50 net win. The others were. I mean, the Vols right now, bracket matrix has as the last 2-4 seed. I think now Tennessee's got to be on the 3 line, probably, Blake.
Don't discount anything.
Who knows?
Who knows, man? Look, I'm not knocking Tennessee. This is why the computers for me. I've always had my battle with computers is you can trick
You're
the
pulling me
computers.
there.
Well, I mean, you can trick them, and I think Tennessee, we know because margin of victory matters. Again, we talked about kind of their defense in a historical context and what they've achieved this season, but yeah, I mean, they still. They still lost 6 games now. And, and think about that too, right? Margin of victory is what we always talk about. Well, we just said, when's the last time a team was lost back-to-back buzzer beaters to lose by a point in back-to-back games? Not happening a lot. So, if you take out the wheel of randomness with the last 2 games, sure, you can look at Tennessee and still understand why they would be in the top 5 in these kind of metrics. So perhaps it is just that, like these last 2 losses, they go from 19-4 to 19-6, but they do it on the basis of back-to-back buzzer beaters. And so if you factor that in, I can see it.
Back-to-back 3-point buzzer beaters, to be exact.
And one, just a complete, I don't want to say miracle shot, but like a very, one's much easier than the other in terms of the setup. So yeah, so that's why it's happening, and that's why I that this is kind of become sort of a theme for a lot of people outside of Tennessee fans is why is Tennessee still sitting there where they are? Well, that's why. Again, I watch things based on my eyes, and based on my eyes, we moved Tennessee to number 3 in our power rankings this week behind A&M, and that's just the way it looks right now. So this is, but like it or not, the NCAA tournament selection process is a metrics-driven thing, in addition to the eye test. But there's a lot of metrics that go into it, and Tennessee, I guess we can joke about them tricking them, but at the same time, I mean, you also again can't discount what they've done in a lot of other areas. And again, the
Tennessee has a
victory,
really good resume. I mean, beating Texas, beating Kansas. We talk about how strong the Big 12 is. Let's not forget what the Vols have done.
Yeah.
The Maryland win. I mean, they beating Mississippi State by 35.
Look,
I mean,
the net
the Vols,
is complicated.
It's starting. It's a what have you done for me lately? The Vols' accomplishments should not be lost based on that. But I mean, you also see what you see, and you've got to put some stock in that. And right now, do you trust Tennessee to beat a good team on a neutral floor? And Tennessee could get this right a month from now. We could be saying, hey, Tennessee's a Final Four team. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But where this team is right now, we have some issues.
Yeah, and it's really the last 4 games, which again, that's 4 games out of the 25 they played to this point. So you certainly have to weigh one over the other. And of course, I'm saying this as the guy, who went to bat for South Carolina in the power rankings. But it's like you can decide which way you want to use the argument. And so, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, Alabama fans were talking about that for a while. Well, we could do anything. We can go out and beat a team by 100, and we're still not going to move ahead of Tennessee. Well, they finally did, and they're there, by a single spot. And so, somebody was there was a lot of jokes I got in my Twitter replies on Tennessee could do this or that, and they still wouldn't move from number 2 or 3 in the net, which at this point may hold true. And you know what? Guess what's going to happen, Chris? They're going to play Alabama on Wednesday. If they beat Alabama, they will jump Alabama in the net. If they lose to Alabama, they won't move a single spot. So, like, that's just the way it works with the net. And I'm an eye test guy. We all know this by this point. So, Tennessee still achieved a lot this season. They're just going through a bad stretch here the past couple of weeks, and that's why their seeding, they're going to kind of fall a little bit lower than they would have been barring these last 2 victories. So
Number 3 among resumes now has to be Missouri. The Tigers have done some great work. Won at Tennessee, beat Iowa State at home, beat Arkansas at home, Illinois on a neutral floor, and then a win over UCF on a neutral floor, in which DeAndre Golston also threw in a 40-foot three-pointer at the buzzer, and beating Kentucky at home for whatever that's worth now. Maybe not a lot. The Tigers are, 7 seed on Bracket Matrix, the last 7 seed. That may lag a day or two. 43rd in the predictive computers, 45 in the net, 19-6 overall, 7-5 in the league. 3-4 on the road, 2-0 neutral, 56 strength of schedule. As of a week ago, that'll bump up a little bit after beating Tennessee. Quad 1, 4-6, and then unblemished beyond that. 4-0, 3-0, 8-0 in quads 2 through 4. I don't know what else you say about the Tigers. The computers don't love them, but to keep beating good teams, they keep shooting the ball well, and not a fun team to defend right now. Not really at any point in the season have they been fun to defend, but they're tough out right now.
yeah, I mean, if you're just looking at it from a resume standpoint, I mean, they're doing what we tell teams to do. It's add quality wins, avoid bad losses. To this point, they've done that. They've added 4 quad 1 wins, and they've avoided bad losses. So, knock on wood, Missouri fans. Like, that's what they've done to this point through 25 games, and that's why they are moving closer to the margin of, hey, you're in. Like, they're in right now. Keep adding. If they win at Auburn, then it's like, all right, like, this team it's going to take
If
a
they win at
complete.
Auburn, it's 20 wins.
Yeah. Well, and you're adding another
for whatever that's worth.
quad 1
Yeah.
win, right? So, yeah. So, I mean, that would be at that point, that's when, and again, barring just a complete, over finish, at that point, the conversation is had that, all right, Missouri they're squarely in the field, and it's going to take something that they've not done this season to get them out of there. So, yeah, Missouri is just by adding those wins, avoiding the losses, bad losses. That's what's gotten them here to this point. And so, yeah, I think they're probably what I'd say they're in that 7 range, getting close to there, perhaps.
Yeah.
The non-conference schedule is still something that will stand out, but again, that's where it can kind of be boosted a little bit by Kansas, UCF, Illinois, which, I mean, UCF, as we said, it'd probably be great if UCF didn't have the 5-game losing streak. They're a little bit a ways back. I think they've won a couple since then, but yeah, Missouri's in a fine spot for now. I wouldn't call them a lock just yet, but and the reason why, here's why I'm going to say what I wouldn't call them a lock just yet. It's because they've still got that 3-game stretch at the end of the season where they play Georgia, LSU, and Ole Miss. Like, things go bad there, then you maybe have to reset some things. But for now, yeah, Missouri's in a good spot.
Yeah, I look at big wins because once you start banking those wins, you can't take those away.
Who's their head coach?
Look, I don't know. I've never heard of the guy.
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know. Let's see. We got. I mean, look, if they go 3-3 from here on out, then they're 22-9 heading into the SEC tournament. Just beat any of Tennessee, Arkansas, Auburn, A&M. That's another good win. I mean, I think at that point, I don't know how you leave Missouri out.
The last 3 games do nothing but hurt you, in a sense, because they don't really help you in any way. But if you lose them, they destroy part of your resume. So yeah, I think it's just how they navigate these next 3. Obviously, going to go 0-3, but I think if they win one of these, and because then, right, what you do is you give yourself a cushion to where if you don't play well at Georgia, you don't play well at LSU or something. If you lose one of those games, all right, you've added one to the mix, right? But I'm just saying, we see what happens when teams go on the road in this league and the craziness that can happen. We just saw that in reverse for Missouri, how they won at Tennessee. But, like we said, we've also seen a Kentucky lose at Georgia, those kind of things. Like, I think Missouri would serve itself well to win 2 of the next 3 because 2 of those are at home. Obviously, one's on the road. But if they can win 2 of the next 3, then you give yourself a cushion heading into those final 3 games.
Okay, we talked pre-show and ordered the resumes. I've made an executive decision to switch these teams. I might be wrong, but just looking at the metrics, it's hard for me to put Auburn in front of Arkansas now. The computers have it reversed, although it's like razor thin margin. Arkansas, 22nd in the predictive computers, 23rd in the net compared to 26 and 35 for Auburn there. Both teams 17-8. Arkansas 6-6 in the league. Auburn 7-5. Boy, you can see why these are so close. Arkansas 2-5 on the road. Auburn 2-6 on the road. Arkansas 3-1 neutral. Auburn 2-1. Strength of schedule: Arkansas as of last week 50. Auburn 54. That'll probably flip after this weekend. Well, maybe not. Quad 1, Arkansas 2-5, Auburn 2-6. Quad 2, Arkansas 4-2, Auburn 5-2. Quad 3, Arkansas 7-1, Auburn 5-0. Quad 4 is 4-0 and 5-0. Auburn, in my mind, does not have the quality wins that Arkansas has. Arkansas has San Diego State on neutral floor, at Missouri, A&M at home, and then make whatever worth you will of at Kentucky and Oklahoma on neutral floor. They're worth something, but neither team in the tournament right now. Auburn, meanwhile, has beaten Arkansas at home, which I guess you could use that as a tiebreaker, but we're comparing teams to the field and generally not themselves. And then that Northwestern win, which got a little more value. That laugh means I'm rambling.
No.
I mean,
I'm
look,
gonna
not
point something out.
Okay.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? It's like Arkansas is 2-5 in quad 1, 4-2 in quad 2. Auburn's 2-6 in quad 1, 5-2 in quad 2. The separator, quad 3, Arkansas's got a loss, Auburn doesn't. So like I don't have a strong opinion. I mean, they're both 17-8, like you said. It's like
Arkansas also played a long time without Nick Smith Jr., which the committee will consider.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But no, I'm just pointing out, like I don't think that's a wide gap by any means, and I know you didn't say that.
No,
but like,
it's not.
Definitely, yeah. It's just they're an interesting spot because I mean, look, the net likes Arkansas more from just a ranking standpoint, right? They're at 23, Auburn's at 35, and that's why we kept saying, like, that's why if you see the other video, which let me just tell you, I don't know what order these videos are going to go out in, so like we may be saying things that either we have already talked about or haven't talked about, but if you watch all the videos, you'll get the full, story eventually. But so it's like we were talking about when we do the predictions video, we already did. It'll go up at some point, either before or after this. We're talking about how big the game is for Auburn against Missouri. I don't know. Like we have so many, like we're doing so many videos this morning. I don't know what order I'm going to put them up in. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, that's why I think the Missouri game is so big for Auburn, because they do need to start getting some positive momentum in terms of bigger wins. And that would be a nice one to have. And then knowing they have the 3 at Kentucky, at Alabama, home against Tennessee, which Kentucky, if Auburn won on the road to Kentucky, it would still be, I think, at that point, it's going to signify a good win. Like it's going to still qualify there, unless Kentucky loses the next 3 games, which, in all honesty, is not out of the realm of possibility. So, so I think Auburn, I guess we can say Auburn feels like it's in a more crucial spot right now. But then when you look at Arkansas, I mean, they've still got to go to A&M, Alabama, Tennessee. They got Florida, Kentucky at home, Georgia at home. So yeah, not much separates these two right now, but both have very tough stretches to finish the season. And so, of course, from the SEC standpoint, you'd like to see both of them play their way safely into the field, but it won't be easy with these finishing stretches here.
It seems like the SEC schedule, tell me if I'm wrong, was front-loaded with bad teams playing good teams, and the backside is good teams playing the good teams.
It just the way it fell, right?
Yeah.
There's no way you can necessarily predict that coming into the season, but it's just kind of the way it fell. So, yeah.
Okay, next team on our list, Texas A&M. Again, we're doing this in order of resumes. A&M is a weird team. 31st in those 5 computers, the predictive ones. 33 in the net, 48th in ESPN strength of resume, 18-7 overall, 10-2 in the league, 5-3 on the road, which is a big plus in A&M's column, 1-3 neutral. 84 strength of schedule is the last week. That probably won't budge much by playing at LSU, which is what A&M did over the weekend. Quads, A&M 2-4 quad 1, 3-0 quad 2, 5-0 quad 3, 8-2 quad 4. The wins, best 2 wins been over Auburn according to the net, which is 32. Home win over Missouri, and then pair of wins over Florida for whatever that's worth right now. Florida looks like the quintessential NIT team if it can bag enough wins. A&M is that typical team that probably impresses you a lot more than the resume. You sure don't want to be a 7 drawing a 10 A&M in your bracket if that's how this pans out.
Yeah, come on, put them in the tournament, folks. There's no other way to put it right now. Like they're a tournament team. Not just me going to bat for them as an SEC guy, but like they're a tournament team right now. They're 10-2 in the league, which has to count for something. We can go back and talk about the Murray State and Wofford games, but like they are 10-2 in the league right now. That has to account for something. And they've beaten Auburn twice, who we would have in the field right now. They beat Missouri, we'd have in the field right now. Florida moving away is not helping A&M. So 2 wins there that probably looked a little bit better before Florida went on this recent stretch. So yes, and the good thing for A&M is kind of like these other teams, right? They've got a lot of opportunity the rest of the way to keep building this resume. Arkansas would be a huge win on Wednesday. They go to Missouri after that. They got Tennessee at home, Alabama at home. We kept pushing that. Tougher games are going to be at home for A&M. So, yeah, I just, I made that thought several weeks ago. I said, look, they're in. That's my prediction. They're going to get into this thing. The way they're playing shows you that. And it is going to go back to the non-conference portion, which, like we said, for the second year in a row, that's going to be the talking point. But once again, I think unless they were to just really, really stumble the rest of the way, and by really, really stumble, I mean go 2-4 or worse. I just think A&M they're going to be a tournament team. So,
All right, Blake, here come Chris Jans and the Bulldogs. Another
here
win
they
this
come.
weekend, beating Arkansas and Fayetteville. Bracket Matrix had A&M as the second team out and State as the third team out. Again, I don't think that's been updated for a couple of days.
That's
Most of the
outdated at this
brackets in
point.
it. Yeah, A&M I think would be in right now. State probably not, but getting close. 44 in the predictive computers. 41 in the net, 39 strength of resume according to ESPN, 17-8 overall, 5-7 in the league, 3-4 road, 4-1 neutral. So that's 7 wins away from home. That's pretty strong. 52 strength of schedule as of last week. That'll go up a little bit playing in Fayetteville. Quads 1-4, 3-5, 2-3, 3-0, 9-0. And again, we've been saying this for a while. Keep an eye out for State if it starts making a charge because it's racked some quality wins up. Marquette on a neutral floor, TCU at home. I know that was with no Miles, but it's still a nice win. Missouri at home, Arkansas on the road. State's remaining games. Let me pull this up.
Very good chance for a strong finish.
Yeah, well, let's be specific. They've got Kentucky at home, Ole Miss on the road, Missouri on the road, A&M at home, South Carolina, Vandy on the road. Go 4-2 in your 9-9, which is what Ken Palm has got them going. Make one of those wins over Missouri or A&M. You got pretty good quality wins. Get somebody in Nashville. I think State's in at that point, Blake.
My tune has not changed, and I know there's some people who will push back against that, but like I think they've got to get to 9. I don't care any way you slice it. I think they got to get to 9 SEC wins, because if you don't, you're putting yourself in a position where you're expecting to be the outlier over the years, where only one team has done it, right? Alabama, unless we just missed one somewhere, which I don't think we did. That's the magic number. Get to 500 SEC play. Doesn't matter how you do it. Just get there. And, I would suggest not losing to South Carolina as part of that equation. But anything else or Ole Miss. But anything else, any other combination of getting to 9-9, you will take it. So, and they would be in at that point. Yeah, because the schedule would support it. The win over Marquette, I said this to someone earlier. That's a big thing right now. Like for this team that's in a 5-7 spot in league play, having that win over Marquette doesn't really give you a cushion, but it gives you a little bit more, wiggle room here for how you finish, as long as you get to 9-9 in the league. And I think if they do that, look, 8-10, win 3 SEC tournament games, maybe 2, depending on who the opponents are. Then we can play that game. But right now, if you're wanting to do that right now, I would not do that. If I'm Mississippi State, I would not take that chance. I think get to 9-9, and I think there's a good chance they can go 4-2 the rest of the way. Maybe better, depending on how they're playing right now. So all the positive momentum for Mississippi State, unlike 2 other teams that are behind them at this point.
Yeah. Neither of which did themselves any favors this week. And Kentucky, my goodness. Kentucky, don't go and lose in Athens. That's what you did. Kentucky is still in bracket matrix as of Monday morning. Again, that's because that's not updated. I think everybody's going to have Kentucky well out of the field. Predictive computers, led by ESPN's BPI. I don't know what goes into this one. BPI's got Kentucky at 28. The average of those 5 predictives at 44. Nets got Kentucky at 46. Strength of resume, 73. Records, 16-9 overall, 7-5 in the league, 3-4 on the road, 1-2 neutral. Number 38, strength of schedule. As of last week, I think that would probably go down a little bit after playing in Athens. The quads, boy. 1-7 quad 1, 6-1 quad 2, 3-0-3, and 6-1-4, that one being South Carolina at home. Big wins. Kentucky does have 2 wins over teams that I think could be in the tournament today. At Tennessee, A&M at home. The Florida win is a top 50 net win. I don't think that really changes any minds. Kentucky out of the field. But the Cats, look, they'll have a chance. Mississippi State, Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, Vandy, Arkansas. Kentucky, hey, win 3 or 4 of those, and maybe we're talking about you again. But go 9-9, and I don't see it for them.
No, I don't either. I mean, I don't want to say they're firmly off the bubble now, but they've moved out considerably. And as we said, opportunity is available. It's just they have got a tough schedule to finish the season. And so yeah, I mean, you want to talk about like the wheel of randomness, right? The inconsistency of some of the teams that they're going to play. Think about 3 games in a row against Tennessee, Florida, and Auburn. How could anyone, if you want to do the ultimate parlay, all right, the ultimate betting parlay, that I think would be equivalent to trying to win the lottery, to properly predict how exactly the Tennessee, Florida, and Auburn games are going to unfold for Kentucky. Like what the result will be for those 3 games. I have no idea.
Well, let's go one more. Let's throw Mississippi State in there. Because let's not forget last time. Well,
I'm taking Mississippi State. Spoiler alert. Like I don't have a lot of questions.
I am too, but last time Kentucky had one of those pull your hair out losses with South Carolina. What did Kentucky do next? It went to Knoxville and beat a red hot Tennessee team.
Yeah, I guess.
But I'm not calling it. I'm just saying based on the weirdness of that season. But there's not a game left on this schedule that would shock me if Kentucky lost.
No, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all 5-point swing games. Like meaning these are all games I think that are decided within 5 points. Every single one of them. All 6. So, yeah, the way Kentucky's playing, there's no other solution to that. Like I think that's just where they land. So, they've got work to do. A lot of work to do at this point.
Just for fun, because I know a lot of their fan base is talking about it. Vandy as a tournament team.
Did we say anything about Florida?
No, we didn't. That was a mistake. I didn't
I
mean
feel like
to.
they would be ahead of
Let's hit these
Vanderbilt
both.
at this
Well,
point.
they would be. They would
Yeah.
be. I just had completely forgotten. I mean, because now Florida's 13-12, 6-6
Well, yeah,
in the league,
they're
which is
out
what
of the
Vandy
mix,
is
but
too.
they're closer than Vandy, I still think. So
Yeah, the net loves Florida a lot more. 51 versus 81. I'm sorry, those are the predictives. The net's about the same. 54 versus 93. Strength of resume, Florida 52, Vandy 71. Of course, Vandy just won in Gainesville, which is why we're grouping these together. Both 3-5 on the road. Florida 2-3 neutral, Vandy 1-2. Strength of schedule, Florida was 11, Vandy was 13 as of late last week. I have not seen those updated. Quads, Florida 2-9 and quad 1, Vandy 3-7. Florida 1-2 in quad 2, Vandy 3-4. Florida quad 3, 6-1 versus 2-0 for Vanderbilt. And quad 4, Florida 4-0, Vanderbilt 5-1, that loss at home to Grambling. Florida's wins, Tennessee and Missouri at home. Vanderbilt's knocked off Tennessee, Arkansas at home, Pitt at home also, and then, of course, Florida on the road. So I don't think either of these teams are going to be sniffing the tournament on Selection Sunday. But Florida's a team with the better metrics in case that becomes a discussion.
yeah, that's why I bring them up ahead of Vanderbilt, even though I know they just played, and have the same record. But the computers love Florida more. Yeah, I mean, look, Florida's problem, as you said, or both of them's problem is they have 12 losses now, and I don't think you can go above 14, and get there. So that means a finish playing in a way that maybe you've not played this season, especially in Florida's case. But four of those are going to come against Ole Miss, Vandy, Georgia, and LSU. But as we said, it's time to take Vandy out of that equation of lumping them in with all the other teams. Like they're a better team than those other three. So, and that's on the road, and Vandy just beat them in Gainesville. So yeah, I don't see a path for Florida outside of a I don't see a path for Florida outside of a 5-1 finish, and then I think at least 2 wins probably in the SEC tournament, because that
Okay, because
loss number can't get above 14.
we were thinking the same thing. My thought here does that one have to be at Arkansas instead of Kentucky at home as a win? Because beating Kentucky doesn't, I mean, sweeping Kentucky doesn't really move the needle, I don't think, right now. No, winning in Fayetteville might. Because I'm with you. I think it's going to be 5-1, but I'm wondering
Yeah.
if that one is a loss at Arkansas. Is that would you rather win at
Well,
Arkansas and maybe lose at home to Kentucky in the rematch or
I would
somewhere
say
else?
no, because now look, you'd love to get the Arkansas one, but if you can win all the others, even if you lose at Arkansas, right, you're not getting knocked for that. So then you go into
Right.
the SEC tournament with at least, I think, a clear picture of what you have to get to. I think it
Yeah.
because if you win the Arkansas game, you lose Kentucky, you kind of reset. Like because if Kentucky's not a tournament team, then that doesn't help you any. I think you'd rather lose to the tournament team than the non-tournament team. So I would probably go that route. I mean, yes, they need more good wins, but I also think my preference would be if we're going to take a loss, let's take a loss to the team that's going to be in the tournament probably versus a
Yeah.
team that right now would not be in the tournament. So, because then you go into the SEC tournament with essentially a blank slate of we know we need to get to this because we know we can't afford, because even at that point, right, you're putting yourself in a position where you only have 13 losses and you go in the SEC tournament. So if you lose one, you're to 14, which, as we said, was it 15? Was it Alabama or Vanderbilt that had 15 that got in? Um, both of those teams
Vanderbilt.
have both,
But
they
but
both
I
kind
think
of,
played the number one strength of schedule in the country that year
um,
and went
I
10
think
and 8 in the
Alabama
league.
got in with 15 too, did they not? So I think we're going back to that same 2000. Hold on. Let me look this up real
Was
quick.
that the year Alabama was 8-10 in the league?
Yeah, that's what we talked about that one. That's
Okay.
why I keep making the Mississippi State argument is Alabama lost 5 straight in the regular season. They went 8-10 in the league. They were they were 19-15 after the SEC tournament. So they got in with 15 losses. So, but I'm not ready to go there with Florida because I don't think this team is necessarily. I don't know. I think that's to me that's the thing with Florida. I think they gotta if they want to get in, they can only have 14 losses. I think 15 is too many.
Yeah, for reference, Vanderbilt got in 2017, 19 and 16 overall. It was 19 and 15 going into the tournament.
Yep.
10
Pretty
and
sure
8 in the
those are the two
league.
teams at 15. Yeah.
Beat a Florida team that was in the NCAA tournament in Nashville in the SEC tournament, which was sort of the one that I think probably got them in. So anyway, any parting thoughts on bracketology?
No, we'll do it again entering the weekend after we get the midweek games out of the way. And so, yeah, a lot of bracketology coming this time of year because there's just a lot still, as we said, to be determined, especially in this SEC landscape. Man, there's a lot to figure out, and no one is safe outside of a couple of teams right now, completely. So, yeah, should be interesting. Hit that subscribe button. A lot of stuff coming your way this week, basketball wise. Got a lot of baseball starts this week as well. We'll have some football stuff, women's basketball stuff starting. We're really expanding. This is kind of the launch point this week where we get a lot more stuff on the channel, and we'll have some stuff off the channel with kind of another little thing we're working on. So, yeah, we got a lot happening.
All right. Well, hope you're here for it. Best way to be here for it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps us get found. As Blake said, got tons of stuff coming. Hope you're here for it. Thanks for watching. We're Southeastern 14, and we'll see you again soon.